On to education now. In the past 5 years, Utah lawmakers have attempted to pass more than 700 laws aimed at education. Nearly 400 have passed. That doesn't count this year. They focus on everything that you can imagine, from school fees, student attire, sports, school safety, grades, and attendance.
Crisis in the Classroom reporter Chris Jones has talked to many in the education field who say Utah lawmakers, longtime proponents of deregulation, are overregulating education.
They have created all of these mandates.
And Greene is a mom of 2 kids, so she follows everything about education. She says she's stunned that in the last 2 years, lawmakers have attempted to pass 238 bills regulating education.
They're making the situation terrible for kids and causing the problems in the schools. And then they're pointing at the schools and saying, you're failing.
Have these been the 2 busiest years you've had to deal with in recent memory?
Yes.
Larry Bergeson is superintendent of Washington County Schools and president of the state's Superintendents Association.
Are you fearful that the amount of legislation we've seen in the last 2 years are going to choke out entrepreneurial spirits of school districts?
Yes. There are some times that just the number of bills keeps us working so hard to do just autonomous work that it's a challenge for us.
In 2023, the state legislature passed, on average, about 61 bills a year regulating education. But last year, that number jumped to 76. And by the time the legislature wraps up this year, 2023 will end up passing more bills than any year in the past decade.
This year, 131 bills regulating education have been introduced.
I asked the Speaker of the House, Brad Wilson, if he thinks the large number of bills hurts education's ability to innovate.
How is that not choking out entrepreneurship when it comes to education?
Well, interestingly enough, the majority of the bills that we run in education are requested by state office, state school boards, superintendents.
How often do administrators and school districts come to lawmakers and say, pass a bill?
We are not real proactive on working with them on passing bills. We spend more of our time trying to help them promote and sponsor fewer bills.
For Greene, she wonders if lawmakers are purposefully trying to overregulate education to death. And she wonders if they agree with pro-voucher lobbyist Allison Sorensen, who in January stated her goal was to, quote, destroy public education.
But sadly, I do think that there are a lot of lawmakers who are right there with her.
Education watchers say it's not just the number of bills that have passed, it's the significance. They say this year alone we've seen bills on vouchers, gender, and educational materials, all passing. For Crisis in the Classroom, I'm Chris Jones, KUTV 2 News.
Thank you, Chris. We've been at the Capitol almost every single day of this legislative session. Many bills, including tax cuts, water conservation, and approval of a new state flag, passed through the government. You can find our complete legislative session reporting on our website. Just go to KUTV.com.